Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings, Pusher. Peace and blessings, Michelle. You can stay and listen, or you can come to the stage if you want. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to come in this room. We really just gonna freestyle. I was in a room earlier with these Hebrew Israelites, and we was dialoguing. And my partner, he was in the room, and he's still a babe. He's still learning. So I was at work a lot like I wanted to, but them Hebrews was, trying to preach to him and tell them that, we're the chosen people and this and that. And like I said, he's still learning, so he was just sitting there letting them talk. And every time I hopped on stage, said something, they was trying to dance around what I was getting at, because they know I actually got the spirit with me. So when I go in there, they be trying to refute stuff and they can't back it up. But that's why I made this the title. What does it mean to be a Hebrew? Because these black Hebrew Israelites, man, they be operating so much in the flesh, they don't understand what it really means to be a Hebrew. You go to ask a black Hebrew, hey, why are you a Hebrew? The first thing they'll say is, because my father's a Hebrew, because I was born a Hebrew. But that's not how you should answer. Because to be a Hebrew means one who's crossed over, one who is born again, one who is transcended to another level of consciousness. That's what a Hebrew is. That's why after Jacob wrestled with that angel or that Malak, really it was God. That's why he said, I seen the face of God. His name got changed from Jacob to Israel, Yasharah. Why? Because he crossed over. He transcended. That's why his name got changed. He crossed over from Jacob, Yaqub, to Israel. And then guess what? When the Israelites were slaves in Egypt and Moshe went in there and led them out of captivity, guess what happened? They crossed through the Red Sea. They crossed over. Then they crossed over the Jordan. That's why when Yeshua came on the scene, guess what? He got baptized in that same river, in the Jordan. That's why Christ said, in order to inherit the kingdom, you must be born again. You must cross over, be born again. Notice what he said, of water and of spirit. That's what it means to be a Hebrew, one who crosses over. That's literally what it means. And ironically, guess what Christ got killed on? A cross, because he crossed over. That's why when he said, I am the Alpha and the Omega, in the Hebrew, it's I am the Aleph and the Tav. Those are the Hebrew characters, right? When you go to the Hebrew and you look at what the character of a Tav is, the symbol associated with it, it's a cross. Because Christ got crucified on a cross. Why? Because his flesh died and he crossed over and went back to heaven. And it's the same with us. When we kill our flesh and we become one with Christ, we become born again, we cross over. We come out of the matrix, matrix, when you break the etymology of the word down, matrix, because we come out of our mom's matrix. Why? Because matrix just means womb in Hebrew. So when we become born again, we come out of the matrix. That's what Christ was referring to when he said, in order to inherit the kingdom, you must be born again. Of what? Of water and of spirit. Weird, when you come out of your mom's womb, what happens? Her water breaks, right? It's spiritual. You come out of your mom's matrix into another form of reality, into another realm. It's the same when you break the matrix the second time, when you become born again. You come out of the matrix again. You come out of this world and you become born with the spirit. You cross over. So that's what it means to really be a Hebrew. But again, these black Hebrew Israelites don't have the spirit like they claim. That's why they don't understand this. They're fleshly. You ask them, hey, bro, why are you a Hebrew? Oh, because my father is. Man, that don't make you a Hebrew. He was a Jew, is one inwardly. Circumcision is of the heart. The flesh profit nothing. The flesh and the spirit wage war. We understand that through the sermon from the book of Galatians, Apostle Paul. Because Apostle Paul crossed over. Why? Because he's seen the light. Literally, he's seen the light. Christ came down as a light and said, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Get up and go to the road. Go to the road to Damascus. As a matter of fact, this happened when he was on the road to Damascus. But it's ironic how Paul seen the light, and then when Jacob wrestled with an angel, which is a messenger of light, right? Guess what he named that place? Pineal. Pineal translated to Hebrew means face of God, because Jacob seen the face of God. That's why he named that place Pineal. Pineal, face of God. Ironically, there's a gland in your brain called the pineal gland. This is deep. This is spiritual. And guess what the pineal gland does? It stimulates light. And Jacob wrestled with a messenger of the light. And Paul seen the light as well on the road to Damascus, and he crossed over. But Paul was already a Hebrew in the flesh. But he let the knowledge of himself puff him up. He let himself be in the Hebrew, get him puffed up and start persecuting the saints, persecuting the church, persecuting the followers of Christ until he met the light himself. And then he crossed over in the spirit. Why? Because he got baptized instantly after he seen the light. He got up off of the ground because the power of Christ overpowered him and he got knocked to the ground. Paul couldn't see for 3 days. That's how bright the light was that shined on him. He couldn't see for 3 days. And then guess what? Scales fell from his eyes because he was blinded by these serpents, these shape-shifting reptilians, these demons. They blinded him. That's why it says in Corinthians 4:4, the God of this world blinds your eyes. Who is the God of this world? Satan, the serpent, the dragon, the Nakayas, the shape-shifting reptilian that was in that garden. He blinded Paul. That's why when Paul got off that ground, guess what happened? Scales fell from his eyes. Yeah, I really bust the word down. But it's because the Ruach, it's because the Spirit works through me. This ain't me speaking, it's the Spirit. But these people don't have the Spirit. They search the scriptures, referring to scriptures. They think they have life. Little do they know the scriptures testify of Christ. They claim they know Christ. They don't know Christ. They don't know the esoteric metaphysical breakdowns behind the Bible. They don't know the science behind the Bible. They don't understand that they are the temple of God. But they're so worried about this kingdom that's supposed to be getting set up on earth, not knowing that the saints are going to get glorified before that happens. We're going to rule with Christ for 1,000 years before we come back down and rule. But they don't understand that because they're not chose. They have eyes, but they don't see. They have ears, but they don't hear. They claim they know Hamashiach by their fruits. It says otherwise. You see, the Spirit don't lie. You know, when you're operating the Spirit, joy, love, peace, patience, long-suffering, you're not under the law no more because you're operating outside of the law. The law was only placed because of sin, because of transgression, because of wickedness. But you got brothers who were operating in the Spirit before the law was a thing, like Abel, making offerings to God. You got brothers like Joseph, who was fleeing from fornication, fleeing from lust. That was before that was a law. You got brothers like Noah, blameless, perfect in his generations. And these were before the law was established. You got brothers like Abraham, who loved God so much that he was willing to sacrifice his only son. Then you got these Hebrews that try to be justified by the law. Oh, well, Abraham had to follow the law. Yeah, what law? Because the law wasn't established yet. So, yes, he followed the law, but it's not the letter. It was the law of love because Abraham really loved the Most High. That's why he was willing to sacrifice his own kid for the Most High because he loved Yahweh. And guess what? Yahweh loved us so much that he manifested himself in the physical vessel and then came down and killed himself. That's real love. Because to really live, you have to die. That's why in the garden when they sinned, guess what happened? They had knowledge of it. They instantly had awareness of them being naked and they took fig leaves and covered themselves because they tried to cover their own transgressions. And guess what God did? Nah, you can't cover your own transgressions. You need me to cover you. You need me to atone for you. You need me to forgive you. That's why he uncovered them. And then guess what? He covered them with animal skins. Why animal skins? Because their life is in the blood and the blood is what atones for the sins. That's why even from the jump, something had to die to cover the iniquity of them. And then you got these people that still try to be covered by the law. Insane. But I'm not mad at them because I understand they haven't crossed over like they think they have. They're not Hebrews. They say they're Hebrews, but they're really Edomites. They're really Ishmaelites. They're really Sodomites because they operate in the flesh. They got the nerve to call other nations, the Gentiles, they got the nerve to call them dogs, when in reality, you're a dog. Because a dog is just someone that operates in the flesh. That's why when you turn the word dog around, it's God. Because when you're operating in your flesh, you become an animal. But when you hit that 360 and elevate, you become a God-like being. That's what it means. That's why it says don't give what is holy to the dogs. Why? Because a fleshly person is not going to understand what's holy. That's why it says don't cast your pearls among swine. Why? Because a pig eats anything. A pig operates in its flesh. That's what it means when it says that. See, these laws have spiritual significance behind them. But again, they're not spiritual. So they don't understand that. Go ahead, Queen.